to show you your future that all I have to do is find your friends. Show me your future, find your friends, I'll show you your future, right? So if I want to predictability, understand where your future may be, all I have to do is find your friends. Most people, men especially, are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, that you spend the most time with. If you think about 5 people that you spend time with, you are usually in the middle of the average. Who you spend your time with shapes your future, and accountability and relationships can either be the difference from you going to college or going to prison. It can be the difference from you making millions of dollars or struggling in poverty. It will usually be who you spend your time with, because your friends are your future, okay? So don't ever let anybody say or tell you that friendships don't matter, because they absolutely matter. The thing is, when we don't know who to trust, then we go in isolation. When we live in isolation, that isolation constantly kills men quietly. Where accountability keeps men alive, because accountability is giving an account of your ability. Who are you giving an account of your ability? If I see greatness in you, if I respect the greatness that's in you, if I see your talent, if I see your gift, if I want you to protect that, if you put yourself in the proper accountability circle, they'll make sure that you live up to the best version of yourself. They'll make sure that you're in relationships that reflect the person that you want to be. When you're living too low or dating too low, they'll tell you, hey, that's not for you. I think you can do better than that, because accountability is taking account for your ability. People that don't understand your ability won't make you have account for it, so then they'll allow you to live less than who you were created to be. Accountability challenges you. You can run faster, you can lift more, you can read more, you can think better than that. You have more potential, more earning inside of you than what it is. And so sometimes relationally, we like to be in isolated circles, because certain type of relationships don't provide you an opportunity for you to live less than who you are. And so iron sharpens iron, and right relationships and right accountability bring out the best in you, or bring out the God in you, to make sure that you live on the level that you were created, right? All right. That's what, and I'm about to run out of time. That's what brotherhood, mentorship, and community is all about in mental health, right? So that's what this room is about. That's what networking and creating with the right people is all about in this room, because it's putting you in like-minded relationships, and accountability brings you into a place of understanding. So make sure that when you're checking on your friends, don't just check on your weak friends, check on your strong friends, all right? Look to your left and your right, say, you good, you good, you good, you good? Right? Because we often don't check on our strong friends because we think they're good performatively, because it looks like they're good externally. But you want to check on the people that nobody ever checked on, because a lot of people are struggling in silence, and you want to make sure they're good. The N, and as I get ready to wrap up, the N is navigation and vision. So if N is mentality and identity, and A is accountability and relationships, then N is navigation and vision, right? So you can't lead your life until you see your life. The question that I want you to think about, take a picture of this slide or write this down, because here's the real answer, or the real question about navigation and vision, right? When you think about your mentality, a man without vision is just in survival mode. What are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing today? What are you doing in the next 5 years? What are you trying to accomplish? If you don't have a clear map of navigation, then anything anyone puts in front of you becomes the thing that you start to do. And if you start doing anything that they want to do, then you never get to the place that you really desire. A man without vision lives with strategy and lives with peace. He easily knows what decisions are for him, what decisions are not for him, what relationships are for him, or what relationships are not for him, because, write this down, vision protects his decisions, right? Vision protects his decisions, right? So how do I decide? I don't decide based on what's in front of me. I decide based on the vision that I have for myself. And then does that fit in my vision? If it does not fit in my vision, then protect my decision. My decision is easy. I can make that decision fast. I can make it quick. I can make it simple because vision simply protects my decision. So when you're asking a vision question, I'll ask you 3 questions. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want today? What do you want next week? What do you want out of your life? What do you want? Because whatever you want, if it's out of identity, you can have it. Because 9 times out of 10, the desire for it did not come from external forces. It came from something deep within, right? Why do you want it? This is the deepest question. If you don't know why you want it, then anybody can talk you out of it. And if anybody can talk you out of it, then you don't deserve to have it. All right? If anybody can talk you out of it, you don't deserve to have it. So why do you want it? And then when do you want it? Set a timeline. When do I want it? I want this. I want this. I want this by here. This is why I want it. And this is when I want it. Now, one thing that I want you to write down if you wrote this or if you're taking a note about this, don't let everything that you want, when, or why you want it be something possessive externally. Think about what you want to become, why you want to become it, and when do you want to become it, right? Because if it's tied to becoming versus doing or having, it becomes a simple identity statement. Why do I want to become it, right? When do I want to become it? How I'm going to become it. Become statements gives you the strength to let everything that you do be birthed out of your personal identity, not the other way around. Whatever it is that you desire, remember, you're just one decision away from having it. One decision. Every decision you make is either bringing you closer to that or taking you further away from it. Make sense? All right, so I'm out of time, and I want to hope that you had some revelation, some understanding, and some insight, and something was said in my 20 minutes that helped you to navigate and think about your mentality differently. Is that good? Yes. Thank you very much for your time.
Health is a long-term investment, and the habits that you establish now in terms of eating a few fruits a day, eating a couple vegetables a day, trying to limit how much red meat you consume in a day, trying to come up with an exercise program, the regimen that you establish now will have an effect for the rest of your life. You're young enough. Some of you are probably in high school. You should consider a career in healthcare. You know, a person who's a nurse, who's a traveling nurse, I mean, the amount of money they can make and the way that they could travel the country, right? There's such a shortage of nurses that many of them will work 6-month stints. They'll go and work in St. Louis for 6 months. They'll go to Florida for 6 months. They'll go to San Diego for 6 months. And they'll get a bonus every time they switch. So if you have the aptitude, you should consider a career in medicine. There's a lot of different careers. But you're hearing about healthcare and how important it is. It's not just for you, it's also for how you to present this to your family members. One of the problems is you know, there's 40% of African Americans who are not insured or are underinsured. But that's why they have federally qualified health centers. They're out there, there's people, there's a host of them around us. So your job is to go and get them. The maternal health rates are because a good illustration of failure of African Americans to get preventive health care, to go see a doctor on a regular basis. If you see a doctor and you hold a doctor to the time and you come in prepared, it can change your life. It can allow you to live longer, healthier, and with less, you know, conditions that affect the quality of your life. So, call to action. You got to take ownership of your care. You need to see a doctor every 6-12 months and be seen. You need to participate in screening events. If you're over the age of 40 and you're African American, you should be getting a PSA. Most common cancer you can get, prostate cancer. How do you pick it up? By way of a simple blood test. Second most common cancer you would get is lung cancer. Well, if you haven't smoked, your risk is very low. The third most common cause is colon cancer. And that's what a colonoscopy is for. I'm always amazed that you see a 64-year-old person who's never had a colonoscopy, or a 60-year-old African-American man who's never had a PSA. They don't even know what a PSA is. That's like asking a 60-year-old woman if she's ever heard of a mammogram. She says, of course I've heard of a mammogram, doc. Well, that's breast cancer. There's just as much cancer death in men from prostate cancer as there is from breast cancer. So a 60-year-old man who's never had a mammogram is like a 60-year-old woman who says she's never had, a 60-year-old man who's never had a PSA is like a 60-year-old woman who says she's never had a mammogram. Can you imagine? Right? And so why do we do so poorly? Why do we die so much? Why are we so sickly at 60 or 70? Because we haven't taken care of ourselves. So come prepared to a doctor. Small steps, routine visits can save your life. Changing your diet slightly, trying to walk every day or some type of exercise several times a week can change your life. And then you have to be a voice for your community. You have to spread this word to your uncles, your aunts, your dads. You should ask your dad when you get home, Dad, have you ever had a PSA? Dad, have you ever had a colonoscopy? You know, and so many people haven't, and they would appreciate it. So we can change outcomes by combining community power, prevention, and coming up with a strategy for advocacy for our health as individuals and as a group. So I hope this was helpful.
When you go into your physical doctor and your doctor tells you, and you never felt better, and your doctor tells you your blood pressure is high, and he tells you no doctor should ever give you pills the very first day. You should never get a prescription the first day you go to the doctor. But in our community, they do it. Why? Because they tell you your blood pressure is high, and they recommend changing your diet and maybe going for a walk. And you say, I'm not giving up my pork chops and I'm not walking for anybody, and you get a prescription that day. So you refuse to accept your diagnosis then, and you won't accept your diagnosis in the mirror that you're broken. And it's okay to be broken if you're willing to put in the work to fix it. But we will not accept our diagnosis, and we won't accept nobody telling us something wrong with us either, because our ego is off the Richter scale. And they know it, everybody know it outside of us, but we refuse to accept the fact that we're broken. And you want to be, I'm an aviator, so in aviation, you got to want to be right so bad that you're willing to be wrong, because you can't pull over on a cloud if that plane is not fixed. You know, so we got to accept our diagnosis.
Well said.
I know there's up and downs in life, but I think for me, it's a process, right? When I look at failure or things that are going on, it's on the pathway to success, right? It's not the opposite of success. Failure is on the same path, but success is a little bit further down the road. So just keep pushing, man, and understand that thing. Life happens, but you have to keep pushing, keeping a positive attitude.
That's it. Bringing you out here today, what do you feel is the greatest pain point and why you're here to speak?
Connection with young black men and elders. They need it so bad. We're in desperate need of a resurrection between us and our community. And we have to do it ourselves. We can no longer depend on anybody else to do it. If Ibrahim Toure is doing it over in Africa and Burkina Faso, surely we can do it right here.
One of those big things that I wish I would have told my younger self was to go to therapy. I kind of shunned away from therapy. I lost my brother to gun violence at an early age, and I felt like I had to stand up and be a man and just really like show all these successes and wins. But to be honest, there was some crack in my foundation, and therapy, I ended up listening to a good friend of mine, ended up going through 50 sessions of therapy. 50 sessions of therapy, and those 50 sessions, that's what manhood looks like to me. Not the things, not the achievements. And so I would tell any young person, if you're listening right now, it's good to go up. We can show you how to get up. The biggest thing that'll make sure that you stay up is therapy, foundation in God and your spirituality, and reading books. By the way, go grab the book Rock, Paper, Scissors.